I'm excited to present our speaker, Fabio Costa, CEO of InspectionX. Fabio, I will hand it off to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Edwin. Hey, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Happy Thursday. And super pumped to talk about today's topic, how to get mentioned in ChatGPT. So without further ado, let's jump into it. My name is Fabio. I'm the co-founder and CEO of InspectionX. And a little bit of background on me. I worked at Google for a couple of years. I was an engineer and a product manager working directly on Google search. And I was there through the entire AI transition, which was a super fun thing. And a lot of the learnings I'm sharing with you guys today came from that period in time. And my dad is also a home inspector. So I grew up going on inspections, not getting paid for them, but going on inspections and doing them with my dad. So I have a lot of love for the home inspection industry, and super excited to be here today. I speak on AI a decent amount. We've given a couple C classes at Fabi, and this is our first time here at ASHI. So thanks, Edwin, and the ASHI folks for having us, and thank you guys for attending. So, guys, the plan for today is to walk through why it matters to be discovered on ChatGPT. I'll show you a little bit of the statistics that we've been seeing, how ChatGPT services businesses. And when I say ChatGPT here, just for context of this presentation, I'm not talking specifically about ChatGPT. I'm talking about any AI chatbot, so ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, whatever, as well as the AI overviews that get rendered on Google search, which is essentially a very similar backbone mechanism that's operating under those. So the learnings apply across the board. I just use ChatGPT as a reference name for familiarity. And then after that, we're going to talk about, hey, okay, this is how it works. How do we win in this environment? What are some other pieces that contribute to this? And then I want to leave a decent amount of time for Q&A. And a pre-context here, when it comes to showing up on Google search, when it comes to showing up on ChatGPT, the reality is there is no playbook and there is no right answer. So if anyone ever tells you they know how it works, that's not true. The algorithms are not deterministic, but there are principles and there are things that we see working in the industry that you can replicate and you can make work for you. So we're going to go over these, but I just wanted to contextualize why the principles that we have exist. Cool. So why are we even talking about getting found on ChatGPT? The way people find information is changing. In the past, it used to be the yellow pages, then it evolved with the internet to Google search, and now it's evolving to AI assistants. And people had more options in the past, and what we're seeing now is a decrease in optionality. In the past, when you looked at a magazine or when you looked at a results page from Google, you'd see 10, 20 links, 10, 20 references. Now, when you ask a question to an AI, the amount of answers you get is way narrower, right? So we're seeing less and less answers being given. And I did this yesterday. I went on ChatGPT. I live here in South Florida, so I just looked up home inspectors near me, and we see here like three popped up. So this is just an example of like how people are finding information, and how these chatbots are displaying them. Now, the trend on this has been nuts. 45% of consumers used AI to find a local business in the past year. So local business includes home inspections, right? A year before, this was 6%. So we're seeing almost like an 8x increase here on how much people are relying on AI to satisfy their information needs when it comes to local businesses. We're also seeing mass adoption amongst 30 to 44-year-olds, which is the age where a lot of people go buy a home, hence get a home inspection. And we're also seeing a drop in traditional search as this surge in AI usage goes on. So evermore, it's super, super relevant to become visible to AI. If the AI doesn't know who you are, you're going to be invisible to a fast-growing source of referrals because people are not looking for information and are not satisfying their information needs in similar ways that they were historically. So there's also another nuance of a challenge with AI, which is what I alluded to earlier. The amount of answers has decreased a lot. So what we're seeing is, sometimes when you ask a question to chat, it's going to give you like a super, super narrow answer, which is kind of what makes it good, right? You don't have to pick, it just tells you. Versus when you search for stuff as Google, it gives you a lot of answers. So it's a lot harder for you to show up in AI. The counterpoint to that is the leads are so much warmer. So compared to traditional Google search, what we're seeing is a 4.4% increase in conversion from leads that came to the AI versus leads that came to Google. This means that if someone clicked on your website versus ChatGPT mentioned your name, the person that read on ChatGPT is 4.4 times more likely to call you and close the deal. It's almost as if ChatGPT and AI in general was being treated as a warm word of mouth referral at scale. That's how we're seeing people take that information and behave and act upon it. So that's just a little bit of context of the state of the industry. TLDR, people are using AI to satisfy information needs. It's harder to show up, but when you do show up, it's more valuable for you. So how do it works? Like how do these AI engines surface business? First, let's take a step back and figure out, hey, what problem do these AI engines try to solve? What's their business? So their business is satisfying the information need of their user. So ChatGPT wins if your question gets a good answer. That's what they're trying to do. That's their goal as a company. It's not selling ads. Well, anyways, we're not going to dive into that topic, but it's not as monetized as Google or traditional search or magazines or whatever. It's not giving an array of a ton of options. It's trying to be the most narrow and helpful as possible. Because the same way when you ask a human a question, the more specific and good of an answer they give you, the better it is for you. And that's kind of what they're trying to accomplish, right? So the question for us becomes, how do we help AI satisfy the information needs of their users? Well, there's three pillars to this. The first one is, can the AI find you? Does it even know you exist? Step one. If it doesn't know you exist, you're not going to be part of an answer. Step two, can it trust you? So, imagine I'm the AI. I find this piece of information. Is it trustworthy? How can I establish that this is a relevant piece of data I can give to my user? And then the third pillar is, does it help answer the question that this person is asking? Does this website or this asset contain the information that will satisfy the information needs the AI is trying to satisfy, right? Okay, so what do we have to do to win against these three pillars? Like, how are we able to be found, to be trusted, and to deliver the answer that the AI wants? The website is not 100%, but almost all of it is your website. And making sure that you have a website that is built not only for traditional SEO or ranking well on Google, but a website built for what folks are calling now AEO, answer engine optimization, ranking well for ChatGPT. Now, there are other things that influence the likelihood of an AI surfacing your name in their response, but your website is going to be most of it. So we're going to focus on the website, and I'm going to gloss over the other ones. a little bit of context on why your website matters and kind of like how AI works in general. Essentially, when a question is asked to ChatGPT, it finds the answer to that question in one of two ways. Either it has already been trained on that question in the past, when kind of like they train the models, essentially they feed the entire internet to the model learns um, Wikipedia pages, news, etc., and almost has like that information encoded in its DNA. So when you ask a question, for example, what year was the Constitution ratified? It probably already saw that in its training. It's going to just go ahead and retrieve that answer. It's almost like it already knew what you're asking from memory. So that's one way AI answers questions. The other way AI answers questions is it kind of browses the internet for information live. So when you ask, hey, what just happened in the last hour in the news? Or who's a great plumber near me? Or who's the best home inspector for my house that I'm selling now? Who should I hire? The AI is going to recognize that, hey, I don't have this information in my memory. I wasn't trained on it because it's fresh information, it's relevant information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look the internet to acquire the required information that I need. And then I'm going to use this search that I have done to synthesize the best answer to answer the question I was asked. So this is why your website is so important. Because what the AI is doing when someone asks, who's a great home inspector near me, is it's looking in the internet to find an answer to that question. It's reading blogs, websites, inspector pages. And then it's going to use those three pillars that we talked about. How is this person found? Are they trusted? Do they answer the question? To then synthesize that information and give it back to whatever is asking them the question. Cool. Step one, how do we get found? Guys, step zero of step one is let's have a website, like an actual website. Facebook is great. Google My Business is great, but we need a website. It needs to get indexed on the web. The AI needs to retrieve it. The website needs to have your business name, the services you provide, where you are, everything in plain digestible text. This is very surprising to a lot of people because they think that AI is a robot, is a computer, is a machine, which it is. So it doesn't matter how nice my site looks or how well information is organized. Some of that is true. Like it's not gonna your design choices, your aesthetic is not gonna matter, but the flow of your information and how it's constructed in the design of your website. What's a header? What's a body? What's the sequence of the information? How indented are these bullet points? All that stuff makes the site more readable and interpretable and actionable for the machine to understand. And there's a lot of parallels between how humans understand data and how machines understand data. So your website has to be clean. It cannot be a dump of information. That will not satisfy. And then, of course, your name, your address, your phone, all the fun stuff, consistency across every page. Now, the second thing that we need is the website needs to meet whatever technical criteria is required for it to be able to be properly crawled and indexed by the web. So this is very, very similar to the technical criteria we have to meet to rank well on Google search. The site needs to load fast. It needs to use the appropriate fonts. It needs to be mobile friendly. This is kind of what I was mentioning before, where the headings and the organization, we have to have like real text, and we're trying to not be tricky or not hide anything from the computer. All the images, they need the alternative text and captions on video so that folks that have impaired vision can still use the site with a screen reader, which influences how the site ranks. And we need descriptive links between pages. So all of these are already things that are critical for your site to rank well on traditional search. Because AI is also performing traditional search to derive your information, they apply to rank you well on AI. And then the third pillar to making sure that you can be found is your website needs to index well. So then again, similar things to what we need to do for SEO, but let's make sure the site is submitted on Google Search Console, on Bing. Although a lot of people think Bing, but no one uses Bing. Well, Bing is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft also owns ChatGPT. So actually, Bing powers ChatGPT, which not a lot of people know. So make sure we're registered with the Bing Webmaster Tools. It's going to help you guys show up on the AI answers. And these are kind of like the three pillars of step one, being found. Let's have a website. Let's make sure the website has a very clear flow of information. Let's make sure we meet all technical requirements that we already need to meet for SEO. And let's make sure we're submitting our site to get the proper indexing so that we can rank well, yes, on Google, but also well on GPT as a consequence of also ranking well on Google. So this is very, very similar to like traditional SEO. Not much change here because of AI, except for like the Bing webmaster thing. Cool. Now this is very important for the AI. Can the chatbot establish trust? Okay, I found your website. How does it know to trust you and that you're a good source of information to answer the question the person asked it, right? At the end of the day, that's all it's trying to do. Give a good answer to the question their user asked them. So on the page, on your website, we gotta have, star ratings, reviews. Let's make sure those are clear and well articulated. This is also gonna help a human that's reading your site build trust in you. Add your license numbers, add your certifications, how many years you've been in business, how many inspections you've been completed, how many happy homes you helped sell, how many inspectors you've trained. Get someone to give you a testimonial, maybe even a link with their face and their name, which helps build credibility and that trust, so that when the AI scans your page and is trying to answer, hey, should I trust the person that is using me with this website's information, has more evidence to say yes. Second thing is structured data. So this is a little more on the technical side, but there's this thing that if you do your website, or whoever you have do your website, they'll know about this. Let's make sure you have like a very well structured local businesses and reviews and FAQ schema in almost like a JSON format in your website, so that the AI can know that, hey, yeah, this is the website, this is the domain, this is the structure that they follow. It's going to help it like scrape your website. And then the last thing is, information about you, not only about your work and your testimonials and your evidence about your business, but also about you personally, who you are, what's your bio, where you're from, what credentials that you have. You're all ASHI members. That's great. That establishes credibility. That establishes trust, right? And we can also make sure that those are pointed to your schemas. So essentially, after we have a website that can be discovered, we can build trust in that page, proof of your business, evidence that you deliver a good service and your clients are happy, any structured data schemas that we need to implement to maintain consistency, and evidence about you as a human, who you are, and why you should be trusted. You don't have to say why you should be trusted, but it's going to be implied, given the evidence that you present. And then this is the third bucket, which in my opinion is the most important one after the first two have been established. The first two are kind of like baseline, so you can play the game. This one is more like how you win the game. So when people interact with an AI chatbot, they interact in a question-based format. You ask a question to the AI. And the way that the AIs look across the internet for a good answer is, hey, is the question that the person asked me a direct match to a question I found in this source that I can trust? So if I ask the AI, how much does an inspection cost? And it finds a source on the internet that literally has that question in it, in a website, how much does an inspection cost? And it has information there about that. And the AI establishes it's a trusted site, it's going to directly quote that answer because it knows it's probably a good answer because it's an answer for the same question. And it's an answer from the same question from a source that is established with trust. So what we're seeing, and there's a really, really cool opportunity to stand out and to win when it comes to ranking well on AI, is that the amount of questions people ask AI is way, way bigger than the amount of queries they used to do with Google. We're seeing an incredibly long tail of questions. People ask a question, they ask a follow-up, they ask a follow-up to the follow-up to the follow-up. The average Google search journey is around 2 or 3 queries. The average ChatGPT interaction is 7 to 9. So people ask a lot more of the AI. And here's a wonderful opportunity for you to incorporate questions that you hear on phone calls, on sales calls, on booking calls, on site, when you're giving your presentation from your grandma. Anything that people ask you about what you do, they might ask chat. And if you have a direct answer for that question in your site, boom, it has a really high likelihood to quote you. So that's super, super exciting. And as much as you can have an FAQ section in your website, to keep updating that FAQ section every week, every 2 weeks, whatever cadence is feasible for you is wonderful. Because what happens is whenever you update your website, the AI notices, hey, this website changed. If it changed, I need to reread it. When it rereads it, it becomes fresh in memory. When it's fresh in memory, it's more likely to be served as a result. So to summarize here is take the inflow of questions you have in memory, the inflow of questions you receive when you're booking an inspection, when someone is inquiring, when you're on site, and let's add those to an FAQ section of your website every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever you can do, so that it becomes almost part of your routine. Your site gets re-indexed, and whenever someone asks chat those questions, if you show up, your lead is 4.4 times hotter than it would be if you're running Google Ads, right? So that's super, super exciting. Now, what is the most frequent question that you should have an answer for in your website? Who's the best home inspector near me? That's probably the majority of the queries that you're going to see related to you. Sure, they can ask follow-ups, but those follow-ups will be if they like what they see related to whatever 2-3 recommendations are being compared. So the key here is, how do we have a great answer on your website for why me? Why should I be the one that gets recommended? Why should ChatGPT give my name when someone asks it, who's the best home inspector near me? That's what we're trying to answer, and that's what we're trying to communicate and articulate on your website. That's super important. I'm going to say it one more time. The question most people are going to ask chat is, who's the best home inspector near me? And we need a very clear articulation of your value drivers on your website so that you get referred and you give the AI an excuse to refer you against 100 other people it's going to find in your county. Cool. So let's double click on this. What happens when someone asks, who's the best home inspector near me? This is actually 2 questions. What are inspectors near me? And who's the best? So step 1, are you discoverable? Do your site exist? Can it be trusted, etc.? And then, does your site have where you are located? That's going to help the AI answer who is the best. That's going to help answer the near me part of it, right? And then, okay, they found you. You have a website. You know that you're near the person because you have your location and your service areas on your website. And then it's going to say, okay, well, this is an inspector. Check. It's near this person. Check. Can they be trusted? Then it's going to look for all that stuff we talked about. Does they have reviews? Are they part of associations? Who are they? Do they have information about themselves? Are there people talking good about their services? How long have they been in business? Do they have a good description of what they do and their services? Do they seem legitimate? It's going to try to answer all those questions. Or their details consistent across the website, right? And step 3 is going to be like, okay, this guy is in a serviceable area of this person. He is trustworthy, but there are also, a ton of websites like these. So the user asked, who's the best home inspector near them? Out of these, who's the best, right? So we just need to have a very clear articulation of that on your website to help sell that narrative to the AI, which is then going to sell that narrative to their user. So what are some examples that stuff you can put on your website to say that, like, hey, this is something unique about me? What do you do? Do you include services that maybe other inspectors in your area charge? Do you have a lot of ancillaries that you offer, so you are a one-stop shop? How do you go above and beyond? Do you take a little gift that you present at the end of the inspection? Do you do a post-inspection presentation? Are you a part of an association? You guys are part of ASHI. That's great. Do you guys do guarantees? Are you a specialist in something, right? And even though there might be overlap between some of these things that you do and other people in your area, maybe they don't have it on their website, or maybe their website isn't findable or isn't consistent or doesn't meet the technical requirements, right? Or maybe it's not articulated well enough, their value drivers and their differentiation. Maybe it's not framed as a question, which is what the AI likes to find. So it's all about like being confident in what value differentiator you think you add to your clients and working to articulate that very clearly in your website so that both a human and an AI can have a clear rationale to, hey, this guy is awesome, we should recommend him. Also, I keep saying guy or woman, they're great women inspectors. But anyways, this is the key idea here. So just to recap before we jump into this, can your website be found? Can it be trusted? Do you answer the question the user asks? What question people usually ask? Who's the best inspector near me? Besides all the technical stuff we need to do to get the website good, up and running on Google and on AI, the key to answer the third question is, what makes you unique? What makes you different? Why should you be recommended, right? We need a clear answer for that, so the AI can have a clear answer for that, so that it can have an excuse to referring you. It's kind of what we talked about at the beginning. The amount of people getting referred is diminishing. The leads are hotter, so it's an opportunity for you to stand out, get referred, and get hot leads. Cool. So, and I mentioned that a lot of it and most of it is your website. That's true. There are some other things we can also do to rank well. One of the things is Google reviews are great, and we can link your website to your Google business profile. So ask people for Google reviews. The AI is going to find your Google business profile. It's going to use your reviews as a signal for trust. That second pillar we talked about, can it trust? It's going to use as a signal for that. Get listed if you appear in different places on the website, on the internet, and different websites. That also establishes a signal for legitimacy. Hey, this is not a unique website. This person exists in these different places online. That's a great signal for the AI. And what we've also been seeing is, people that are helpful on Reddit, helpful on YouTube. They post, they help answer questions. If the AI can associate that human with that website, that's also a great signal. Reddit and YouTube, and I guess any place, any forum, any discussion is also gold for the AI because it's a source of very, very wide range of questions that for the first time we're seeing people asking and searching for, which they didn't do with Google before. Now, with all of these things, it's very easy to become inconsistent. That's a very bad signal for trust. We want to maintain consistency. Make sure the business name is the same. Make sure your name is the same. The address, the phone, make sure stuff is up to date. So when the AI looks at your website, it looks at your business profile, it looks at your ASHI profile, it looks at, any comments that you've made, they can understand that this is the same person, and that all contributes to your credibility, that second trust pillar that we talked about. And then this is like, I wouldn't even worry too much about this, but this is just like a technical checklist. Since this is being recorded, this is all stuff that helps on the first and second bucket of can you be discovered and can you be trusted. It's just a good checklist to make sure the website meets all these stuff. Cool. So to recap, the way people look for information is changing. It's changing fast, and it's changing significantly. It's a great opportunity when you get mentioned because the leads are hot. And the key is to understand that what the AI is trying to do is give a great answer to whatever the person using the AI is trying to ask. That's literally the success criteria for the model is, am I helpful? And for it to be helpful, it needs to find a great answer on the internet. And for it to find a great answer and for that answer to come from you, you need to be found. So you need a website, you need to be trusted, it needs to meet all the technical criteria. And then you need to answer the questions people are asking. And the number one question I would urge y'all to start trying to answer is an articulation of the reason why you should be picked to do an inspection and the clear value proposition of why you and your edge. That's going to give the model the horsepower it needs to have a higher likelihood of surfacing you as one of those 2-3 names it gives out. Cool. So that's the end of the presentation. I want to open stuff up for Q&A, but before this, I talked to Edwin, and we're giving out a free website for ASHI members that attend this website. We'll build it. We'll get on a call with you to help articulate the reason why you should be the one, why you're different and what's your value prop. We'll just articulate that together with you to put that on your website and get your ranking. And we'll give it to you for free for 1 year. After that, we'll make it free forever if you're part of ASHI and InspectionX. Or you can keep it for $50 a month, which is kind of below market for what we're doing. We're not really a website company. What we do, we're inspection report writing software. We're AI powered, so pretty much we bring in folks template, we let them do voice notes and take images during the inspection, and then we use that to cut down the report writing time. So we're seeing folks, finishing reports in 15, 16 minutes after they get done on site. Deliver reports the same day. And these are kind of like the value drivers our users have been able to articulate on their websites. Has been like, hey, you should choose me because I deliver the report on the same day. The report is interactive and it's going to be great for you. We have tools for your agent, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of what we do and what our core business is. This AI search stuff is kind of something I have experience with the past and jam with the ASHI guys to be relevant for you. But Edwin's going to send a Google form after this meeting for you to just send us our information. We'll whip up the site for you. This is kind of what the website looks like. It's fully customizable. If you don't have a logo, we'll make you a logo. It tells you what you do. It gives the clear why work with us. If you are an InspectionX user, it'll give you like a live preview of your report so people can see and navigate through your report during the website as they get to know you. And then it has information about you, which is where you need to build that trust. All your certifications and credentials, testimonials, where you're servicing, and the frequently asked questions that people ask ChatGPT relevant to your location and to your business. And this is something that we should keep adding to at that cadence, right? But anyways, if this website, I'll also make sure it gets linked so you guys can use it as a model of the sequencing, regardless of who you use to do your website. It's a great sequence that we've seen work well with other inspectors. And the most important thing is, let's make sure on your website, whoever you use for your website, whoever you use to help you write your reports, there's a clear articulation of what your value drivers are. If you use InspectionX, we have a clear articulation of those value drivers with our reports and faster delivery and all the tools we have for the agents. If you don't, doesn't matter. Just make sure you can have a clear articulation, and we'll work with you to get that in. Cool. And then last slide was just questions. So I just want to open up for any questions. I know we have 12 minutes. I wish we had a little bit more time, but this is really y'all's time. So feel free to ask me anything. I'm here to be a resource for you.
Great. Thanks, Fabio. That's a lot of great information there. And like Fabio said, I will be sending that out at some point tomorrow. So keep an eye out for the email from me as well. Fabio, we did get some questions, and we'll give opportunities to have everybody type in their questions. But the first question that came in is asking, like Google optimization services, are there any for Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude? This person already has a website through their Pillar to Post company. So I think they're just asking, is there anything like the Google optimization services for this, for AI, I guess, for chat? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great question. I've seen a couple firms doing answer engine optimization or AI engine optimization. They were mostly focused on like enterprise customers, so like working with Nike or working with Whole Foods to get their sites up and running. But at the end of the day, if your site already was optimized for SEO and you already kind of established that, I can be found, I can be trusted bucket, the third thing that is going to be key for you to do, and maybe you don't even need to hire anyone to do this for you, is make sure there's a clear articulation of your value differentiator, and make sure that at a specific cadence, you post an answer to a new question that you've heard on site or that someone asked you. That's probably the best thing you can do to keep optimizing, is just making sure you have answers to the long tail of questions people are getting asked. So maybe instead of hiring a firm to do that, is working with your existing office manager or your team to be like, hey, let's make sure we add a new FAQ question every other day or every week to the website. I think that's going to do wonders for you guys.
Great. Next question that came in. Jim's asking, can you add this, who is the best inspector near me, to your Google profile as well as your website too?
Edwin, can you say that one more time?
Yes. Can you add the who is the best inspector near me to your Google profile as well as the website too?
100%. 100%. And you can have an articulation for why you on your Google business profile. That's great. It's going to be great for a human that runs into your Google business profile. It's going to be great for consistency across the different sources of information that you encounter across the web, and it's also going to be great for the model that reads those. So yeah, that's a great idea.
Great. Another question that came in, how important is an offline EEAT strategy compared to an on-site EEAT strategy?
Yeah, I think the question was online versus offline.
Offline versus on-site.
Offline versus on site. Guys, so for folks that don't know, EEAT usually it stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And it's basically like it's a framework that is used to rate kind of the quality of your content, kind of like the quality of your website, right? It's a framework that gets used to rate that. And essentially, I think it's a good framework to have. It's a good questions to have an answer to. Show that you have experience, show that you have expertise, show that you're an authority, and show that you're trustworthy. I think it's something that we can even add to the website in the sense of like, hey, this is my experience in this field. This is why I'm an expert in home inspections. And we can even frame those so that they get framed as questions that someone might ask ChatGPT, right? So imagine you show up and they ask, why is this person an expert? Or what's their experience? Or are they authority on the field? Should I trust them? So we can have almost those questions and the answers to those questions either directly on the body of your website or in an FAQ section of your website. It's also on the offline or case. I think it's also great content that you can use whenever you're meeting a realtor in person or whenever you're presenting at the beginning of the house. Like, hey, it's a little bit about my experience, my expertise. Here's a little bit about my authority and my trustworthiness. So I think it's both. It's something we can articulate online on the website and something that we can also articulate in real life to folks that we meet.
And they were just the person that asked the question, just wanted to clarify a little bit. Offline means off of my website versus content on my website.
Oh God! Oh man, I misinterpreted the question. Sorry. Great question. It's gonna be more powerful if it's off your website and it links to your website. So if you get mentioned in ASHI in an ASHI blog that talks about you and how you have experience doing home inspections, and that blog links to your website, that is super powerful because it establishes that another trusted entity, ASHI.org, has mentions of you, and that builds up your trust and your credibility to the engine. So it's hard to do it off your site because you have to convince someone else to talk about you on their site. But yeah, that's super powerful. It just has to have a link to your website. That's going to be key. And you can also post that content in your website. It's not bad for it to be duplicated. It will not hurt. Does that help answer the question?
We'll give them a couple seconds to respond. But
Okay, cool.
Fabio, that was I did have a question for you regarding that because I know that we actually have members that contribute to the ASHI reporter. So I think I think I wanted to ask if that's a good use case kind of for that authoritativeness. But then
Yeah.
also in regards to our members that are ACIs, right? The certification, that is a true third party certification, and I know we highlight NCCA's, the credentialing organization that does that for us on our website. But I'm wondering if our members should also reference our website or the ASHI certification pages to help with that as well. I don't know if that helps them referencing the other organizations as far as the who credentials are ACI credential.
Yeah, it's helpful to have the credentials that you have and where they come from on your website because that helps establish you as an authority independently. it's more powerful to have those websites mention you than for you to mention them. Um, so whenever, and Edwin, whenever someone writes something for ASHI, adding a little bio of them and a link to their website is gold. Or whenever this other certification, if that other certification has like a blog page or a directory or something that mentions that person and has a link to their website, that's also gold. Because then what happens is whenever Google or an AI looks at the schema of the internet, it's going to be able to say, hey, these websites, which get a ton of traffic and are trusted, all talk about the same person and point to their website. So this is trustworthy. They kind of inherit the trust. So it is good for them to have information about ASHI and about their other credentials on their site. But the more you have other sites talking about you and pointing to your site, the better. That's more powerful.
Got it. Got it. So I think I'll ask our IT director to make sure that, and we can also check to see how many, because we have that find an inspector tool to make
Yeah,
sure that our members, our ACIs are actually, and inspector members also do have that website, that connection in their account. So that way it's kind of referencing that too, right? Okay. Got it.
100%.
I'll
Yeah,
put that on our to-do list to check that, but perfect. And
awesome.
then also, I'll also double check on the reporter for those contributions that the members do for the articles to make sure that, yeah, you're saying their websites, their contact, the website is probably the most important, right? Not just their names, but also their website and um,
Yeah, information establishing them and talking about them and a direct link to their website.
perfect, perfect. I'll look into that for everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's going to be super helpful.
I don't see any other questions. We'll give a couple of seconds here to have, if anybody has additional questions for Fabio, to go ahead and type them in. We'll give you all a couple seconds. Again, just as a reminder, this is recorded, and so you'll be able to access it again. We will send a follow-up with the offer if you guys are interested in the website, or even if you just want to talk to Fabio and talk about the website or InspectionX software. I mean, you guys should really take a look at this. It's pretty cool software you guys got there. But we'll also share that contact information that you're providing here, Fabio, so everybody can get a
Yeah,
hold of you and just ask you questions, right?
yeah. Please do it, and please reach out, like regardless of if you want to work with us or not. I'm available and I'm a resource to help in whatever capacity I can if I can. I'm here for you guys. We have a great relationship with ASHI, so I'm all for it. Edwin, feel free to share my email, and people can email me directly.